Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Wow. What a great way to start the year off. um yeah, look at that. Another upload that's actually like close after the previous one. Yes, I wasn't kidding when I was saying I'm going to try and get back to consistently uploading more frequently, not in a weekly or in a strict schedule because I know I would not meet any of those deadlines. Um but more I would definitely say more consistently than the last 6 months. So yeah, expect that throughout the next few months. And as you can guys tell from the title and the thumbnail, this is gonna be a 4K Blu-ray or 4K slash Blu-ray collection update. Because I haven't done one of those in a while, and I'm not gonna go through the entire thing all over again. That's just stupid. I'm only gonna go over what I got in the month of December. Now I know people are gonna say, "Well, it's technically January." Well, realistically speaking, I have not gotten any movies since January started. So this is technically counts as December, like up till December. So yeah, and I actually have quite a few. Trying to show the titles. I have quite a few movies to discuss. Well, not too many, but a sufficient amount. About six here. And I think we could cover all of them in a quick and orderly fashion, probably around 20 minutes. So, without further ado, um, let's just get right on into it. So, I'm going to go in order of when I got these, not in release order, because realistically, that would be kind of weird for this sort of thing. So I'm just gonna go in order of when I got them. Starting off with two that you've actually seen on the channel before. Excuse me. I had to sneeze there. Funny enough, you've seen almost all of these in, and my camera's getting out of focus. You've actually seen most of these in videos. I think there's only two in here that I haven't shown off in a video up until this point. And why is my camera still not focusing on me? That is weird. Um, so yeah, I've shown off most of these. Um, and there's only a couple that I did not show off yet. But again, I'm going in when I got them. So first off, we're actually gonna start off. Whoa, what the fuck happened with my voice? We're actually gonna start off with a Ghibli movie because if you guys have been following my channel uh, over the previous few months, you know that the thing I uploaded consistently was a series I did with a good former friend of mine known as Odd Boy. We did Studio Ghibli Summer, and after that, or near the end of that series, I wanted to start getting the Blu-rays for pretty much all of them except for a couple that I didn't want to get because I didn't like those films. But yeah, really wanted to get basically all the films that I really did enjoy. Um, so I started off with well, I had Ponyo before the series started, and like around the middle, I got both Princess Mononoke and Spirited Away, which I already made a video on about unboxing those ones in a separate video. But after that, I realized that my local Best Buy had a few Ghibli films there. So I was like, you know what? Let's go down and pick some of them up. Unfortunately, I only got one of them that they said they had there. The other one, I couldn't find it, and then eventually, during another trip to that Best Buy, um, it said that they were sold out of it. So that was completely bust. But I still came out with one Ghibli film, which, I'm fairly happy with. And that film is Kiki's Delivery Service. Now, this is one of the, in my opinion, one of the best Ghibli films out there. It's easily in my top five, or even like, even if it isn't in my top five, it's definitely in my top 10. because this film is, at least to me, it is really, really uh, relatable in a way. Basically, this film is about a witch named Kiki who reaches I think they say in the dub that she hits like she turned 13 or something. Um so once a witch hits 13 in this universe, they are basically sent out and uh want to they have a chance to experience what the world is like, not only as a adult, but to also trying to make their name out as a witch. So Kiki does that, and she goes out to, I believe it says, I'm trying to remember where it says she goes to. Um, I forgot, but you can easily look it up on or you can actually watch the review that me and Oddboy did for Studio Ghibli Summer. But basically, she travels to an area that she's not familiar with at all, and soon starts to realize that maybe this whole, becoming an adult thing is a little bit more tricky than she thought. And realistic, like this is so relatable. It basically deals with what I would say most typical teenagers deal with. You have to deal with the excitement of becoming an adult, um, then trying to fit in with that environment, realizing that it's a lot more difficult than you thought it was, and eventually, even our main protagonist, Kiki, goes through a depression cycle, which is admittedly very tough to get through, but also very relatable because to be completely honest, when I was in my younger teen years, I felt the exact same way. I had a depression phase in my life where I didn't really think anything would really work out for me in the end. Um, the only thing I really had going for me was that my grades were doing pretty good in school. And then like my family and friends that were pretty much sticking by me that entire time. And that's really the main things that were pushing me around that time. And that's exactly what Kiki has as well, except for the family, because they appear at the beginning and then that's it. They just don't appear out for the rest of the film. But she has some very loving friends that she meets in this new town, and eventually um you know starts to develop a close relationship with them, and some of them even become her best friends. um this is definitely, if you guys plan on getting into Studio Ghibli, this is definitely one I do recommend you checking out. This is so relatable and honestly a amazing film that everyone should pick up. At the time I'm currently recording this, I believe Best Buy is selling this for like $14, which is like insane. If you can go out to your local Best Buy and if they do have it, try and pick it up if you're trying to get into Ghibli, because this is one of the best films in the entire Ghibli catalog. So, do recommend getting this. And the main girl Kiki is voiced by the same actress that will later go and do MJ in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films. That's right, Kristen Dunst, and she actually does a very good job for such an early stage in her career. I feel like, um, but yeah, definitely check this film out. I remember the next one now. So going from that, you expect, this should be a pretty light-hearted, video, with kind of fun kind of topics and such. But this next film is quite the opposite. So, like I said, when I was hunting down these Ghibli films, it said that they had both Kiki and they had My Neighbor Totoro as well. But I was only able to pick up Kiki because they didn't have Totoro at my Best Buy. So I was kind of pissed about that one. Um, but I still wanted to get one more film or movie at Best Buy that day. And so I was scrounging around trying to see, what I could possibly get. And then one caught my mind. One that I've talked about with my friends recently at the time that I went there. and a a lot of my friends were recommending it. They wanted me to at least try to watch it. And I've heard some really good things about this film, but I never got a chance to actually watch it until I finally saw the 4K of this movie going for around 14 bucks. And that movie is American Psycho. I've been interested in this film on and off throughout the last few years. But again, like I said, I never really had a chance to watch it. And at the time of this recording, I still haven't watched it. So, if Matt, if you're watching this, I do plan on getting around to this. Probably for this upcoming Halloween, I might review this film. Um, but we'll see. But basically, if you guys don't know the story of this film, it's basically about a businessman called named Patrick Bateman, who was played by the wonderful Christian Bale, who would later go on to play Batman in the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight trilogy. This was really the role that kind of gave him the role as Bruce Wayne, which is insane to think about. Um, but anyway, um, he kind of desires something else in his life, something way more deranged than what his normal life would contain, and it has some of the gruesome and most grotesque shit that you would see in a Hollywood movie ever. Of course, you have your exploitation movies, which are way more graphic than this, but for a mainstream Hollywood movie, this has some of the most fucked up shit you can ever imagine being in a feature film. Um, And yeah, for some reason, a lot of people like this film, and it's really not just because it's not because of the fucked up shit that happens in this film. It's really because of the acting from the one and only Christian Bale. He does, from what I've heard at least, a fantastic performance in this film. And like I said, this was basically the movie that gave him the role of Bruce Wayne in the Dark Knight trilogy. So clearly this film influenced someone to go, hey, he should play Bruce Wayne. Um, so I definitely do plan on checking this movie out at some point. Maybe I'm hoping this year. Um, but this is definitely on the watch list for me at some point. But yeah, probably expect a review on this sometime later this year. I can't really say that much because again, I haven't really watched it. But what I can say though before you end this section off is you know, I hesitated getting this film for a very long time because for the longest time, this film was only released on Blu-ray. And if you guys have kept up with Blu-ray forums and stuff like that, and if you guys are fans of American Psycho, you would know that American Psycho has one of the poorest Blu-ray transfers of all time. And I'm not sure if this Blu-ray disc that this 4K comes with is the original Blu-ray disc or if it's just the 4K disc just downscaled to 1080p because some 4K discs are actually like that and they actually just downscale the 4K image and just put it on a 1080p disc. Um, I highly doubt that because it does say down here that is a region 1 disc and not region free. So I tend to believe that the Blu-ray that's included with this is the original picture or the original transfer, which, like I said, is pretty much awful. Um, but I basically just say if you're trying to get into this film, just go straight for the 4K and don't even try picking up the original Blu-ray. Because like I said, from what I've heard, it is one of the poorest Blu-ray transfers of all time. Not the poorest; they're certainly way worse. But it's certainly down there. So if you want to get into this film and want to see it in good enough quality, just pick up the 4K, and you're pretty much fine. All right, so moving on from that, we went from a kids animation film to a rated R, basically psychological horror film to a kung fu movie. I know this one's gonna go a lot around, but yeah, basically the next film is Enter the Dragon, released in 1973. Um, I have seen this movie. In fact, now at this point, I've seen this movie twice now, and Yeah, I absolutely love this film. It very well be my favorite Bruce Lee film, although it's not my absolute favorite Bruce Lee film. That honor goes to Dragon the Bruce Lee Story, which ironically enough does not feature Bruce Lee at all. It has Jason Scott Lee, or is it Jason Lee Scott? I think it's Jason Scott Lee, or I don't. I'll throw up some text saying what his fucking name is. Um, but yeah, in terms of actual Bruce Lee films, this very well be my might be my favorite. Um, it just has basically, it is the quintessential Bruce Lee film. Um, for anyone who doesn't know what the plot is for or what this film is, the plot is very simple. Basically, Bruce Lee goes to and is entered into a martial arts tournament, which is held by the eccentric Mr. Han, who is secretly trying to capture girls and basically use them as uh, like a pain scheme. It's kind of that whole subplot is kind of just forgotten about because realistically, you just get into these films for the fight scenes, and this one in particular, absolutely delivers. Um, I at this point now, I do technically own all of the Bruce Lee films on some kind of physical media. I have the other four main Bruce Lee films on Blu-ray from the Shout Select series. The Big Boss, Fist of Fury, Way of the Dragon, and The Game of Death. Um, and what kind of sucks is that right when this one came out, Arrow Video, which is kind of like one of those boutique Blu-ray labels, right after this Blu-ray came out, they announced that they were going to be doing a Bruce Lee 4K collection with all of his major films in one singular box set on 4K. Which, in all fairness, I wasn't too annoyed about that one because I was like, it's like over $150. I'm not going to go for those. Then a few weeks after, they announced that they were going to do individual releases um, for each of the films, except for Enter the Dragon, which again was being released as a part of the Warner Brothers 100th anniversary thing. So I showed those off in a few other videos, but I do plan on picking those up at some point. I just don't know when, because I'm gonna have to import them from the UK. So that's kind of the kind of like the downside of it. But in all fairness, I pretty much have all the Bruce Lee films that I want on Blu-ray and 4K. Um, so that's all that really matters. This 4K in particular includes both the theatrical and the special edition version. I know when I first watched this film on what's known as HBO Max, I watched the regular theatrical version. But when I got this film and I watched it digitally, it was the special edition version, which I believe has only like two extra scenes in the film and realistically doesn't add that much to the film. And it was just kind of there for just to add padding to the film. Uh, if you're just trying to get into this film, I just say watch the theatrical cut and watch the special edition version if you really want to. It doesn't really add that much to the story. Um, but yeah, if you're a diehard Bruce Lee fan, you probably already have this. But you're getting into Bruce Lee's catalog, do try and pick this up. I actually got this during Black Friday for $10 with the slipcover. And if you guys saw the unboxing video that I did, for some damn reason they included this big ass shipping sticker on the front, which basically covered the entire slipcover, which I was pissed about. As you can tell, though, I managed to get it off, and I did not scratch or damage the slipcover at all on the front. So I'm very happy about that. But this looks really good. But yeah, there's obviously I'm trying to show it off. There's a little bit of a wait there. There's a little bit of a paint chip there, and it's stuff like it's just like what. Who cares? At least I got it, and I got the slipcover in a pretty good condition. So, and with shipping as well, which can easily fuck up, I'm fine with that. All right, so those are really the main ones that I showed off on the channel beforehand. The next three I haven't showed off really ever. Well, except for the last one, which I'm briefly going to cover. Um, but these next two I haven't showed off in anything. So I'm actually um really excited to talk about them. And funny enough, the next one is actually a Ghibli movie. Um, because like I said, I'm still trying to collect all of them. So this one actually does complete kind of like my, I guess you could say, trilogy of my absolute favorite Ghibli films. Because like I said beforehand, I had not only Ponyo, which I think is a pretty good Ghibli film, but it does have some major problems. But I also grabbed Spirited Away and Princess Mononoke, which right now are currently my Spirited Away is my first, and Princess Mononoke is my third favorite Ghibli film. But there was still one more in my top three that I wasn't able to grab because no stores near me had a copy of it in their store. So I had to resort with buying it on Shout's own site. And I'm really glad that I did, because this Blu-ray is probably the best one out of all of these in terms of condition. Um, and I'm definitely gonna be picking up more from Shout. But at this point now, I've completed like my top three Ghibli films on Blu-ray. And the last one to that piece is the next film I'm going to be talking about, and that is Castle in the Sky. Now, I'm just going to come out and say this. I mean, you guys have seen the review that I did on this, and I will be talking more about this film in depth with when the ranking video comes out. Which again, I don't really know when that video is going to be done. It's going to be a lot of work, so I might try and get it out this year, but I'm not totally sure. But this is could very well possibly be my personal favorite Ghibli film. Um, and that's saying a lot when I'm comparing it up into like the likes of Princess Mononoke and Spirited Away. But this could very well be my absolute personal favorite because it has pretty much everything that I want from a from a film. It has the action. It has the, I guess you could say, the love story in it. That's not too hokey. Fantastic animation. And keep in mind, this animation was made in 1986. So this was way before digital compositing was even a thing. Um, and it still looks like something that could easily be made today and looks even better than some animation today. Um, and I am very glad that I was able to pick this up on 4K as early as I did. And I will definitely be holding on to this one for pretty much the rest of my life as a Blu-ray collector because this is one of the best ones. In terms of the Ghibli collection, it actually could. I think it actually is my best condition one. Because obviously there's only like a couple things down here. There's a little bit of a dent at the bottom of this spine. And there's a little nick at the top here, but besides that, it's pretty much perfect. This is also another one that I honestly would recommend you watch if you're trying to get into Ghibli, because this is a very sort of, I guess, generic plot, but it fills it up with absolutely gorgeous animation, a fantastic soundtrack, and absolutely great characters. Like, I think legitimately all the characters in this film are great, including the fantastic Mark Hamill as the main villain. Um, he is such a delight in this film that it's actually amazing. But overall, I do recommend, if you're trying to get into Ghibli or just Japanese animation as a whole, do try and watch. This is one of the best pieces of Japanese animation I've ever seen. And that's going on the lines of, like I said, Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke, and not even just counting Ghibli, like the stuff like Akira, which came out 2 years after this, looks amazing. So I honestly, I recommend this film wholeheartedly. Pick it up if you can. Now the next one is probably the most recent film that I have in terms of this collection update. This film, in fact, came out in 2023, And this was a film that, going into it, I didn't know too much about, but now that I know a lot about this franchise and what I was kind of expecting in a way, um, I think I like it actually a lot more than when I initially watched it. And that film is Five Nights at Freddy's. Yes, I actually did pick up the 4K of Five Nights at Freddy's because realistically, I actually did like this film. I know that a lot of people really didn't like this film. In fact, some people hate it, and even some FNAF fans actually really don't like this film, which honestly kind of surprised me because I actually really kind of like this film. Um, I wasn't expecting too much from this film. I knew they couldn't really go as much into the lore as the FNAF lore is. If you guys know about it, then you know how fucking complicated it is. I knew they couldn't go fully into depth with it, as I think some people thought. Which honestly, you shouldn't be going into this film with the mindset of, oh, this is gonna be exactly like the games. Because if you think like that, then yeah, you're not gonna like this film. But if you go into it with an open mindset of being, this is different from the game series, I'm gonna expect something different. You actually probably like it a lot. And also considering the fact that this is trying to see, well, actually this is an hour and 50, so almost 2 hours. Um, I thought that this film was gonna be a little bit shorter, but I'm at least glad it wasn't over 2 hours long, because that would have made this film pretty much unnecessary. Um, I do actually have a bit of a funny story with this film, which I haven't actually explained yet on YouTube yet or online. But I think I'm gonna save that for when we do the discussion video, which is gonna be the next video after this. So do expect that. Um, and yeah, so I think honestly though, if you guys are actually like fans of the FNAF series or even just the movie, try and pick this movie up either on Blu-ray or on 4K because actually this is native 4K. I actually forgot to mention that with the other two 4K discs that I mentioned. Pretty much all the films I have are true 4K. They're not upscales or anything. Which actually kind of surprised me with this film. I surely thought this was going to be an upscale, but it was true native 4K. And so I'm actually kind of excited to see how this film is going to look with all the kind of HDR. Because this film only has HDR10 and it does not have Dolby Vision. But it does have a Dolby Atmos soundtrack. So that is kind of cool. I'm trying to see. Yeah, only HDR10. So, yeah. So don't go into this. Don't go buying this 4K expecting too much. But just expect a pretty nice looking picture. I mean, that's usually the case with 4Ks anyway, even if it is an upscale. But still, don't expect too much. But just expect a very nice picture, and I think you'll enjoy it. All right, so we're moving on to the final disc, or for the final movie, and I did kind of briefly show this off in the last video that I did, which was the kind of like Christmas video of 2023 slash the what's his face December channel update thing. I kind of showed it off there, but I'm gonna again show it off here because why the hell not? It is the Fast and the Furious, the first one on a 4K steelbook. This is a series that, like I said in the previous video, I only just started really getting into in 2023. And at the time of this recording, like I did say, but I think I said before, I've seen all of the films at least once up until the eighth one. So I think I've seen this one about 3 times in full. I've seen the second one about 3 times as well. Too Fast, Too Furious. I've seen Tokyo Drift fully once, and I did not like that one. That one I do not recommend at all. Shitty characters except for Han. But the driving is cool. But if it doesn't have a good story compelling it, then I'm just like, who cares? Fast and Furious was kind of just a mediocre film. Um, and then Fast 5, I thought it was really good. Fast 6, I thought it was pretty good as well. Fast 7, that was really like the first one I ever watched. Because my sister was into those a lot, and that was around like 2015. So that was kind of like when I was hitting that like movie obsession phase of my life. Um, so I watched that one. I think I've seen that one twice now at this point. I thought that one was pretty good, and I thought that Fast 8 was a little bit of a step up from Fast 7. Even though it unfortunately does not. That was the first film to not have Paul Walker in it, because if you guys are fans of Fast and Furious or just films in general, you would know that Paul Walker is unfortunately not with us due to a really bad car accident back in, I think, 2014 that caused his death. So yeah, it kind of sucks that that happened to him. Um, but he will always live on in these films, and that's kind of like why I appreciate most of them nowadays, especially these early ones. Like this one, I think is personally my favorite out of the saga. But I think Too Fast Too Furious is like my second favorite, because Paul Walker is such like a charismatic character that like you just want to root for him throughout. And they kind of just made him like the side character compared to Dom in the later films, so that's kind of unfortunate. But yeah, I really do recommend this film for anyone who's interested to see how the Fast and Furious series is. Just watch like this one, Too Fast Too Furious, and then watch like 5 through 7, and you'll basically get the gist of it. Basically how these films go. Then if you're not interested, if you feel like you've fully gotten into it, at that point you can stop there. But if you're interested, you can watch the rest. Unfortunately, though, my steelbook has suffered a bit of damage. I'm gonna try and show this off. There's a dent there. There's a dent. Yeah, there, and there's dents on the side here. That yeah, there's two of them. Then on, and then there's a little bit of scratches on the corner here. You can kind of see it. Then on the back, there's a kind of another big dent there. So I am kind of sad about that, but the discs still are pretty secure, and I seriously thought one of them was about to fall out. And they actually do include a nice little, I'm going to take out the digital code so that no one steals it. They kind of do include this, like, nice portraits of all the main characters. I swear I just heard, like, the adhesive started to, like, come off. But I'll take the disc out. Has that nice kind of, like, little cast photo there, which I kind of like. But yeah. I'll just say this, I hate the Universal disc, which just has like kind of like a clear disc and doesn't have artwork on it, kind of like this. I hate those because it makes them so like susceptible to like what's his face, fuck, how did I forget what the word is? Fuck. I'm actually blanking down on that word. Smudges. Fucking. I just really just hate those Universal discs that just do that, and like, that's so dumb. Just put the disc art at least, like, even if it's simple, like, you know, like what the Fast and the Furious discs do, where it's just like the title and then like a color, like that. Just even just doing that, yeah, it's simple and maybe not original, but at least it doesn't result in smudges on your discs. I hate that shit. And with typical steelbooks, they have this stupid fucking cardboard thing, which just gets in the way and is stupid. And as you can tell, mine is severely falling apart, so I will be getting a steelbook protector for this one. Yeah, that's pretty much about it. I say this was a pretty good because this technically combines really November and December, so it's kind of like 2 months. But I don't think this was actually a very bad haul for the last 2 months. I just hope that I can get some more over the next a few months because over the next few months we're gonna have a lot of good ones coming out. Like the big one that's coming out for me, that's coming out in March is some of James Cameron's films finally getting a 4K release, and some of them even just a regular Blu-ray release. Like we're getting Aliens on 4K. That's probably gonna be the main one I'm gonna try and go for because I fucking love Aliens. But we're also getting True Lies and The Abyss on 4K, which beforehand never even got a Blu-ray release. So I'm gonna also try and pick those up because I actually do really like True Lies. True Lies is a very funny spy film with Arnold Schwarzenegger in it, which I do recommend. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna be trying to pick those up, and I think a couple other titles as well. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video, this kind of a 4K and Blu-ray collection update video. It's something that I haven't done for a while, and now I'm doing it again, or that I'm doing it now. It feels kind of refreshing, like this is how like my old the old content was, and now I'm getting back into that. It feels so refreshing. Yeah. So yeah, guys, that's gonna be the end for this video. Like I said in the previous video and a couple times throughout this video, the next main upload to the channel, but that probably won't be a stream upload because yes, I am gonna try and get back into streaming. Just try and stream some Fortnite because again, I haven't streamed the new chapter yet. Chapter 5 is currently live right now, and we have only about 2 more months of it left. Hey everyone, I just wanted to come on to this little part at the end with this new clip because some fucky shit started happening right at the end of me editing this. So as you guys saw in the video, I was talking about how like the next thing I might be doing is streaming Fortnite because chapter 5 is out and still haven't streamed it yet, so I wanted to get back into it. Right as I'm talking about that, though, for some fucking reason, the original raw recording, just the whole video froze on this dumbass frame of my face. And, yeah, but the weird thing was that it didn't stop, the entire video. It only stopped the video itself, but the audio kept going. So, I've never experienced this before in my life. But it's it's funny, but also I'm pissed about it because it happened to me. But at the same time, it's funny because it's also because it's never happened to me before. So it's what the fuck? So I'm just coming on to this little end part at the end, basically just to say, next video that I'm gonna try and work on is the FNAF movie discussion video. Well, I'm gonna try and get some streams done as well, just so that I can at least say, hey, I'm doing gaming again. And, yeah. So anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for the next one. Live long and prosper. Out.